Do you know that if you don't have those in your body, you're going to die? Well, if you have all of them, you'll explode. Like, we need magnesium or we're going to be constipated or have AFib. We need selenium or we're going to have, itchy breasts when we're during our menstrual cycle or way off menstrual cycles, or our skin's going to be weird. Like, we need iodine or you'll have hypothyroidism. Hello, number one cause of hypothyroidism is low iodine. The number one thing is obviously we're alive, and living beings need living food. We become very accustomed to fast food or easy living. And now we've become very accustomed to people being sick. And we have in America, we're the 55th healthiest country in the world. I'm like, okay, can you name 54 countries? So I was like, yeah, it'll take a while, but we'll get there. But why are we so sick? The only way to get a mineral or a vitamin is through a plant. The thought that you can go to a health food store and buy some ground up rock in a little capsule and pop those every day and you think you're getting your vitamins. No, you're turning your pee yellow and you're giving yourself stones. You're becoming a stoner. Hello, gallstones, kidney stones, stones, varicose veins, spider veins, all this crap goes in our body. You're not designed to eat a bunch of rocks or drink a bunch of well water full of rocks. Like, that's weird. You're not designed to do that.
Welcome to Simply Walk the Talk. Our bodies and minds adapt to what we do most of the time. If you want to change your body and mind, you must change what it is you do most of the time. This podcast explores all things health, wellness, fitness, lifestyle, and biohacking. Stay tuned as we explore various thoughts, methods, and experiences from a multitude of conversations between our interesting guests and experts through many fields of work. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Simply walk the talk. Simply walk the talk.
All right. So this has been a fun morning. This is one of those days where I always say, be careful what you wish for, because we've got so many things going on in life. And, my apologies for being somewhat late. But at the end of the day, we are here. We both have showed up. And I feel like this is going to be a very fun conversation, because I can just tell already before we started recording that you have a lot of energy and you have a lot to talk about. So I'm excited to have you. Today's guest is Karen Zemer Arms, also known as Zuzu. And she has a very popular website called Zuzu Unleashed, spelled Zuzu Unleashed.com. And we're going to be talking about lots of different things around holistic health. She also has a educator's website known as holistichealtheducators.com. And she has a retreat facility, a wellness retreat facility, and a program called lilyfieldcenter.com. So we're going to be talking about a lot of these things. And I think maybe the best place to start, like myself and everyone watching and listening, I want to get to know who you are, what your background's all about, and how are we here today?
Awesome. Well, so I go by Zuzu because you can't be a Karen anymore. But anyhow, so luckily I had a really cool nickname when that happened, right? So, I love Karens, don't worry. But I only pulled that once, by the way. But no, I'm totally a Zuzu. And I came to this just because, number one, I've been teaching and educating. We have thousands of students all over the world, 100 different languages. We love what we do. We love education, but I love to give. I just love. And I'm like, that's it. I want to start getting on podcasts because we know we have so many answers to dis-ease of the body. And there's so many answers to prevent it. There's so many answers to live with energy. There's so many answers to do and live like we've lived. And honestly, when I started podcasting and I'm on podcasts every day, all over the world, super fun. But I didn't realize that 40 years ago, like literally 40 years ago, is when I started on my journey. That's when I had my first green drink. Okay. So I'm 58. And 40 years ago, I went to college and I had my first green drink. I'm the dean of my college. I loved him. And he wanted me to sing. I was like really cool at one point, like sang on stages and stuff, right? Anyhow, and then I had kids, so don't ask me to sing anymore. But I literally was like asked to sing, and I got to know this guy because he was an incredible musician. And so we were practicing, and I went to meet his family, and his wife became like my best friend. And she was like 38 years older or something ridiculous. But it was really fun. And so we actually, my journey in health started, and then I had epilepsy. And so I was able to reverse my epilepsy with food, and I haven't had a seizure, haven't had a medication in 37 years. So it's been an incredible journey, and along the way, had kids and started using homeopathy and herbs and essential oils and then reflexologies and all sorts of different, acupuncture and chiropractic, and just started getting into the world of natural health. And so Holistic Health Educators is our online school of natural medicine, but I'm here because I'm unleashed. Like literally, like, I don't care what we talk about. We can talk about ED or diabetes. Like I don't care. It's what we do, because no one should live without having great bowel movements every day, and no one should live without making love like to their sweetie. Like we all are physical and we're all human, and we should have energy and we should feel vibrant. And if we don't, we need to figure out why. And so that's really why I'm here, is to help inspire people to get back to nature, back to the earth, back to eating actual fruit food that comes out of the ground. And because you're going to feel better and you're going to live with a lot more hope and a lot more energy and a lot more light than not.
Well, I can tell you right now, your inspiration is very infectious. I am already inspired by just the first few minutes of talking with you. So thank you for that. And I can't help but want to know a little bit about this moment you leveraged your Karenism, if you will. What was that all about? Because
Oh,
you kind of
you want to
sneaked that
know
one
a
in there.
one? Well, I actually, after, you're gonna love it because it was with a mechanic over a car. I called my dad after. I was like, Dad, you know that thing going around about Karen? I was one today, and that was it. Only did it once. But I had this CRX-5, and I lived in the mountains, and it wouldn't get up the stupid mountain. I'm like, you stupid car, you won't get up the mountain. I was like, something's got to be wrong with it. And I'm going through my brain, like I'm pretty smart. I'm a pretty smart individual. I have a lot of kids. I've had a lot of cars, and so I'm thinking that I know what it is, but I don't know. Anyhow, so I go down to the dealership. And this guy, I go for a walk. He takes my car, and after he gets done with it, he finds me, and he's like, "Why don't you hop in the car?" So I get in the car, and this man is like, "Ma'am, there's nothing wrong with your car." I'm like, "Sir, I live on a mountain. It doesn't get up the hill." "Ma'am, if you would just push the gas pedal a little harder, you'll be able to get up the hill." Oh, honey. Now, I don't care if you're some 30-year-old sexy looking man with your little bandana on. And so I just patiently was like, well, no, I'm going to head back to your center. So I went back to the center, and then I asked for the service manager, and I proceeded to tell the service manager the things, because he called me like honey and sweetheart and like it's okay, sunshine, kind of like that kind of crap. And I'm like, no, wait a minute here. I'm a business owner. I'm like, so I was still very polite, because I'm a very polite human being, but I made it known that I did not want to be treated like that. And then I said, and I think it's the fuel pump. Guess what? It was the fuel pump. Yes, so I owned it, and so I was just like, but that was only once, and I was still really nice, anyhow, and they all laughed and we had fun. But I did call my dad when I got in the car. So,
Wow. Well, listen, I applaud you for even, doing it the way you did it, because I think most people after the first honey or the first whatever, I feel like they would have just ripped him a new asshole. But I'm really happy that you can talk about these kind of things, because I do think when we live in this world in which we as the experts, we have a lot of things that kind of help our lives. And I think a lot of people look up to us and they think that we don't have these issues like this, or at least it doesn't get talked about. So that's why I wanted to ask you about that, because, we're humans at the end of the day, right? Yeah.
oh yeah, honey.
Yeah.
I do. I'll let out a naughty word once in a while, and I remind people that I was raised Catholic and I'm German, so don't mess with me. Like I don't like. What am I supposed to do? Like I don't. I behave. Don't worry, because I am professional, but I'm also human. And you bring up a great point, Josh, because I'm in this world. Like this is what I do for a living. I keynote. I speak internationally, and I know a lot of the big names. And I'm telling you, I don't respect them anymore, because I know that they're sleeping with all these different people, even though he's this leading guy in health world. I know that. I mean, I know too much, and it really is. Even with all the MLMs, you get to know the people that are running all these MLMs. You're like, oh my gosh! Like when you get to know the people is when I became even more transparent. Like I'm always like, hey, you can take a picture of my fridge anytime. This is how I live, right? You want to see me work out in the morning? Please don't look at my windows, but I am every morning. Like this is what I do, and this is who I am. This is how we raise my kids. It's how we act in our relationships with the people we love and the people who work with us. So transparency is huge, and people aren't transparent anymore. They sit there and they hide behind social media posts, and God only knows what they're doing with AI these days, right? And so, like, we've really lost being real. We've lost touch, being in touch with human beings. And the biggest thing, Joshua, is that like we have this like some kind of right to cut people out of our lives or cancel people when we don't agree 100% with who they are. Okay, so if you're in an accident and somebody of a different nationality comes over, or do you ask them like what religion they are or like who they voted for? Or are you going to take the help? Like if they're offering to save your life and pull you out of the burning car, it's because it's human. It's what we do as
Right.
nature. We do this as nature, right? And so I personally think that is the number one driver of disease is this self-righteousness, edging God out. I don't care what you think about God or who you think he even is or she or whatever. I don't care. But like when we submit to realizing we aren't like the universe, right? Or like we're not everything. I think it would help a lot of relationships because we blame our ancestors, we blame our parents, we blame our grandparents, we blame people that are dead. Oh my gosh, get over that. That drives me nuts, you know?
Yeah.
And so DNA, hello, genes don't just turn it on, just turn on and off. Like DNA is one thing, but nature is another thing. So like there's nature and there's nurture, and you can do so much with nurturing. You can change the genetic expression of your baby by smelling flowers when you're pregnant. I am not kidding you. So I think we have lost touch with how easy it is to boost each other up and to make changes and to love one another. So yeah, I'm real. I'm real, and
Y-
I'm not
Very,
perfect by
very
any
much
means.
real. Everything you're saying is it resonates with me so well, and I think just because of my constant curiosity, I promise we will get into the meat and potatoes, if you will, of this conversation around what you do. But one last thing I would love to know, and I would imagine that the audience probably wants to know as well. How did you come up with the name Zuzu? How were you given that name?
Man, get the Kleenex. This is great. And to me, this is the meat and potatoes. Life is life, right? We're just all humans. So life is life. We can talk about whatever we want. So I had raised 5 children, and I had a husband that was not good to me or my girls. And so I had to get out. And so I found a friend, and I was involved in the church, which was very patriarchal. And so I had a good friend, and I always say he played Monopoly with houses, right? So he had gotten this big piece of property, and I didn't know it. I just said, hey, Don, I need to get out. I've got the 5 kids. I have to get out now. I can't, this is bad. And he's like, and no one knew that because it was one of those, you don't speak about, to ever talk bad about your husband crap, whatever. And so he said, Karen, I just bought this property. Why don't you come and live there until you know what you're going to do? So I move in with 5 kids and one twin bed, the twin bed I had when I was a little girl, and no refrigerator, and one thing of toys, and just nothing. And I move into this. I moved into a rectory. He had bought a convent, a Catholic church that was like 3 stories tall, and a rectory, and it was a
What
huge
is a
rectory.
rectory?
And so I moved. A rectory is like where the priest used to live. It was old Catholic property. And so he bought
Okay.
it, and he was didn't know what he's gonna do with it. So I go move in with my kids, my 5 kids. I move in with $40 to my name in December in Wisconsin, and I moved in December 18th. And he always gave nicknames to his kids. He had 5 children, and I love them all. And so he called me Zuzu. He said, "Don't worry, it's going to be wonderful. You're going to have a wonderful life." And he called me Zuzu. So that was my nickname. So when he'd call, you go, hey Zuzu," and I won't end there because this is really cool. He said, "Do you have an idea of what to do with this property?" And I was like, well, you know how it is. I don't know how many people have left a bad situation, a really bad situation. There's a lot of emotions. And all I know is I like would dance in my kitchen with a peanut butter jar. And I could go like from the bathroom to my bedroom without clothes on and not worry about anything. Like I was able to be me, I was able to just finally live again. And I said, I could make a wedding facility out of this property. But it had asbestos paint. I mean, it had asbestos and lead paint. And so my little 5 children and I, I started just sending out emails saying, "Hey, anybody in the community want to help?" And I was in the middle of nowhere. 400 people live in this town. Like we were 20 minutes away from the next town. Like we were literally 40. I was like 400 people, and people started coming out of the woodwork, and we built the wedding gardens of Wisconsin. And we planted everything. I put in a big pond. My best friend from college, he came with his 3 kids, and it has been a really neat journey. So we were able to build the wedding gardens, and that's where it started, and then I got into health, and well, I'd always been in health,
Wow.
but then I opened a health food store over in the old school building, so, yeah, it's been a really neat journey.
So you're still there now? You're still in Wisconsin in this small
Mm-mm.
town?
Nope,
No?
nope, I sold because after we built the wellness center and the educational center in that town, I opened another facility in a larger city in Wisconsin, and then I opened another facility out in Utah, and so the Utah facility was really hopping, like, man, oh man, they get all excited about everything over there, so I was there quite a bit flying every month, and then I finally flew there, and I'm like, "Why am I going home to" I came home on February 14th. It was Valentine's Day, I don't know when it was, but it was like freezing. I couldn't even open the door to my house because there was like 8 inches of ice and they were all inside. I couldn't even get inside at midnight because it was freezing and I had left in 74-degree weather. And I'm like, okay, forget this. And so I proposed to the family. We moved and we moved. So we actually sold the wedding gardens. It's still operational. Johan does a wonderful job. So there's a beautiful destination location in Wisconsin that we built, and it has been amazing. So, yeah, now we're in Georgia. Actually, 2022, I renovated an RV, and I was single at that point. I had left the church that I'd raised my kids in and kind of lost some family along the way and my husband, but that's okay. And so I thought, well, I'm going to go open up a retreat center. And so I renovated this 30-foot something RV. I wrapped it. You're going to love it, Josh, if you look on my Facebook page. But it's organs, glands, and tissues. And it's this super awesome looking RV. And it says, "We love your guts" on the side of it, holistic health educators. And so we went ahead and I looked for the property and I traveled the whole country looking for it to open up this retreat center. And I traveled with Maggie. That was my magazine to my gun that I kept in the safe. So if anybody ever asked if I was driving alone, I said, "Oh no, I got Maggie with me." But I landed in Georgia. So here we are. So now I'm in
Wow.
Georgia, and
Yeah, so
that's
I
our
have
retreat center.
Yeah, I have it pulled up on the video here for those who are not watching. You can kind of see some of the things that I'm sharing on this page. It's actually really really beautiful. So I'm glad that we got a chance to talk about this because, well, first of all, that story is magnificent, by the way. And and it's challenging, right? Obviously, there's a lot of challenges that I think we all go through in life, and sometimes it's worth remembering where we came from to get to where we are today, because I think it makes it much more impactful. And I will say this, upon looking at your website, one of the things that really draws my attention is, well, I'm gonna pull this back up because this is part of my, what do you call it? Like my brand, is the idea of a labyrinth. And I don't have a shirt right next to me, but my logo that I've created for Joshua J. Holland is basically this play on a labyrinth and what that means. And so I just happened to see that. I am going to share this tab.
Yeah,
This
click
is
the labyrinth.
really, really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah. Can you see that?
yeah. The
Yeah,
labyrinth,
that's
aren't we all on the labyrinth of life? That's why it's there. It was one of the
absolutely.
first things we put in because people today, they look at other people and think they're going the wrong direction. Oh, they're screwing up their life or they're doing the wrong. We're so stupidly judgmental, but we're all on a labyrinth. We're all walking in a labyrinth. And if you walk a labyrinth, as you know, then you're going to have people to your right going the opposite direction and people way in front of you, people way behind you. And we have a very large labyrinth. So we can have 13, 15, 20 people out there and we're all in a different part of the labyrinth, but we're all on the exact same path. And so not only is it incredible at unwinding the mind because geometry does that, but it also helps you really reflect on we're one. We are one. And when our brothers and sisters are in pain in Gaza, in Lebanon, in anywhere in the world, right here in America, anywhere that our people, flesh and blood, is in pain, it does affect us. And this idea that we can rise above that or it doesn't really affect us is wrong because we're just all on this labyrinth. And I think that's probably my favorite thing about the labyrinth is is that we're all living it. We're all walking in what we're all walking in it. And I think the world would be better if we started loving instead of judging a lot more.
I love that you say that, and part of the reason why I chose a labyrinth, it's very much aligned with what you're saying, is the difference between a labyrinth and a maze, at least in the way that I see about it. Because I wrote about this in my book, The Awareness Shift. And in this book, I talk about that difference and the fact that usually a maze has sort of like a specific entry point and a finish point, whereas a labyrinth is more of a journey, right? It's all about the journey. It's all about our personal journey, but paired with this journey we called life and the universe, and everything kind of consumes it possibly, right? Especially if we have sensory awareness. And I'm very big on sensory awareness and personal development, and I feel like you embody that to the nth degree. So thank you for being you. I love this already. I would love to now, because I think people by this point, we're almost 20 minutes in. I feel like people now really see what you're about. So let's actually talk about how it is, the things that you do that can potentially help the person that's watching or listening right now.
Sure. Well, the number one thing is obviously we're alive and living beings need living food. We become very accustomed to fast food or easy living. And now we've become very accustomed to people being sick. And we have what? In America, we're the 55th healthiest country in the world. I'm like, okay, can you name 54 countries, please? Like, so I was like, it'll take a while, but we'll get there. But why are we so sick? And we look back at the Flexing Report from 1920s, and we look back at the changes we made mentally, where we went into blame, right? Because we started going into blame when we chose. I did not choose to follow Freud. I have no respect for that. For that human. I really loved Adler and his thinking, which was consciousness. It was awareness, right? So we have Freud, the Freudarian, right? Thinking that we're still teaching our kids to this day instead of Adler, which is very forward thinking, right? We are our universe. We can create our future. We can draw in amazing people into our life with giving out a higher frequency, becoming someone better. I have a young man who showed up today with his mom. He's in his 20s and he ended up in Florida with, a bad group of people, and he got thrown into, a situation that he shouldn't have been in. He realizes it now, but he has to do 50 hours of community service. And so he's working for our nonprofit. And I was like, okay, it's your first day. I want you to change what you're listening to right now. Cause I don't know what thugs you've been hanging out with, but you are going to change your life today. And you're going to start with what you're putting in, because what you put in comes out. And so that's the same thing for our bodies. So what we put in comes out. And if you're eating crap and you're spending $7 on crappy Doritos, which nobody should eat. If you knew the chemicals in that crap, you would never take an Artaki or Dorito in your life. But we are putting crap in, and it's coming right out. It's coming out in our social media posts, and it's coming out in how we treat other people. And it's coming out when you're cutting someone off because they ticked you off when you're driving. It's coming out with your attitude. It's coming out to the people you're living with. It's coming out to your kids. It's coming out to your spouse. What we put in comes out. So are we listening to uplifting things or positive things? Are we aware of what's going on? Are we watching some documentaries instead of movies all the time? Are we bringing nutrients into our body through the food that we're eating, or are we always eating dead, rotten, cooked food? Now, I'm not saying everything's rotten that's cooked, by the way. Yum, yum, yum. But I'm just saying, like, we're alive and we don't eat any living enzymes. We're alive and we don't eat minerals and vitamins, which only come in plants, by the way. And so, like, we aren't treating our body that has life with life. So my big thing is understanding that we're alive and what goes in comes out. So we need to drink more water, because if you wake up in the morning and the first thing you drink is like a coffee from goodness only knows what water they're using, and then hello, do you know the toxins that are in your just even coffee? You can get organic mold-free coffee, like mycotoxin tested coffee, but most people aren't going to sell that at their Hello Joe pull up and get whatever caramel flavoring and everything you want added to it. So now you have this
Right.
chemical cocktail that you just put in your soda or in your coffee, and then you drink it. And I'm like, where's the water? like you have a lazy river floating around in your body called your blood. And whatever's in the blood is what's going to grow your arteries and your veins and your heart and your muscles and your whole body is made of what you're putting in. Like, what are
Yeah.
you putting in the body? And maybe rethink that. Like, let's go to more water. Let's add some salt because most people are sodium deficient. This is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a holistic healthcare practitioner who loves your guts. But I'm saying most people don't have enough minerals. They don't have enough sodium. Please don't use iodized salt. Just rethink salt, please go study. But it's like we just aren't given the enough information in school. We've been taught the periodic table of elements. There's hydrogen and helium and lithium and beryllium and boron and potassium and zinc and cobalt and all these amazing things. But do you know that if you don't have those in your body, you're going to die? Well, if you have all of them, you'll explode. So don't do everything on the periodic table. But like we need magnesium or we're going to be constipated or have AFib. Like we need selenium or we're going to have itchy breasts when we're during our menstrual cycle or way off menstrual cycles, or our skin's going to be weird. Like we need iodine or you'll have hypothyroidism. Hello, number one cause of hypothyroidism is low iodine deficiency, and everyone who ever had breast cancer was iodine deficient, right? And so, and that's from many studies. But I'm just saying we are so unaware that we are what we eat, and we are what we think, and we are what we put on our skin. And so that's probably the biggest thing, the biggest takeaway. And we can talk about anything because I can recite lots of information on how to reverse. I can't say reverse, isn't that against the law now? Like, how dare I proclaim that you can get rid of a dis-ease? But there's a lot of ways you can address a dis-ease at the cell level. And I probably have answers for 350 different health ailments because it's not rocket science. Rocket science isn't even hard, by the way, but it's not hard to understand the human body. You've been told it is because you're expected to go to medical doctor. I love medical doctors. My phone is full of them, right? My phone full of medical doctors because they love us. We love them. The hospital refers people to us. I refer people for lab testing. Medical doctors refer us. I refer people back to them. So like we have a really good mutual relationship, but it's time. It's time that Western medicine and Eastern medicine unite for good. We need to bring our worlds together. And it's happening because people are freaked out about what happened during, a few years ago. And so they're not as reliant on medication. They're nervous about their doctor. I hear it every single day. Clinics all over the country, all over the world, people are nervous now. And to build that trust back up is something we need to do together, in my book.
I think it's all about autonomy, and I think it's all about taking charge of what we have control over or what we at least can leverage. And I feel like up to a certain point, the pandemic was a wake up call for a lot of people, because when you give your autonomy away to other people, regardless of if it's a medical doctor or someone else, I feel like that's less about getting to know who we are deep down inside and more reliant upon other things so that we can then point the finger elsewhere when things don't go the way we want them to go, right? Because it's a lot more difficult to point that finger back at ourselves when we take our own autonomy, right? And so this is what I hear you're saying. And I think one of the things that comes to mind when I'm thinking about where to take the conversation is how you mentioned early on in this episode how you reversed your epilepsy. I mean, I think anybody that might be listening right now that is experiencing that or dealing with that, they're probably perked up because that's not an easy undertaking. However, you were able to do it. And I think a major congrats, that deserves a hand clap, that's really cool. How did you go about doing that? Or, what are some things, I mean, beyond what you've already explained, because I do understand that. And I think the average person listening to this and watching this understands that we should probably have a healthier diet. I feel like that is very well known and ubiquitous across the social media sphere. But like, what else is something that people could take charge of right now?
Love it. Well, understanding the systems of the body. I think probably the biggest issue is we go to school for how many years and they never tell you what's actually happening in your digestive system. Everybody has to poop every day. If you are not having 1 or 2 bowel movements a day, you are constipated. Don't listen to anybody else about that. Anybody who's a mother knows that. Every baby came out and they nursed and then they pooped and they ate and they pooped and they ate and they pooped and they ate and they pooped until they ate American food. And then they ate and pooped on Fridays at 4. That's not regular, guys, right? And so like you need to have 1 or 2 bowel movements a day if you're having 1 or 2 meals a day. And that's ideal, by the way. The 2 meals a day is phenomenal. Breakfast is is a farce. I don't know when they came up with that. Well, I think I do know when they started selling cereal in boxes, but you don't need some huge breakfast in the morning. You need it about 10 or 11, right? You need a really good meal because you've been working outside in the fields and plowing and with your animals, right? And then you come in, you have a big meal, between 11 and 1, and then you have some supper at night. But again, regardless of all that, I think it's understanding that we are designed to eat and then release the toxins and the stool and get that fiber through the body. And a lot of issues are happening because we don't have real food. Like we don't have real food. People are going to buy this fake meat stuff, which I highly don't recommend. And so
Do you,
like when
do you
we
see
are
this?
eating, what was that?
So,
Oh
so
my gosh, how fun.
sorry to cut you off, but I just wanted to show you how aligned we are because I just posted this a couple days ago. I pulled up my YouTube and I was having an interview with Nurse Doza, Jonathan Mendoza, and he has this foundation called goodpoops.org. And I asked him about that, and he was telling me a story about a client who said to him when he asked how many bowel movements does she have per week, she literally said she poops twice a week on Fridays and Sundays. And I was like, whoa. So
Yes.
anyway, I just wanted to show you that like we are aligned.
That is
Anyway,
so
continue,
cool.
please.
Well, and people don't realize if the poop doesn't come out, do you know where it goes? And I'm sure maybe if you had him on your show here, he covered that, but it goes back in your bloodstream. It goes back in your bloodstream. And the disgusting part is that every time you exhale, so I'm talking, right? I'm talking all over my computer. I'm exhaling. 20% of what's coming out was in my bloodstream. So, yes, that
Uh,
means you're pooping on your friends if you're constipated. And many of us can smell that because you have really bad breath. But like, there's multiple reasons for that. But that's a big one. Like you need to have bowel movements, and if you don't, it's going to get reabsorbed, and you're wondering why you have like high blood pressure. Hello, you've got stool in your bloodstream because you can't poop it out, and your skin is clogged and you can't get it out because you're using all this crap on your skin. It's like all of a sudden the only way out of the body, which is your bowel, your urine, your skin, and vomiting or exhaling it, when we clog up. Okay, when we clog up, it's going to come out. I've had people come in with severe skin rashes, and I'm like, "Is it because you're not having enough bowel movements?" They're like, "What?" I said, "Well, how many bowel movements are you having?" And they're like, "Well, maybe every 3 or 4 days." I'm like, "Okay, you have to get things out of the body, and if you don't get it out into the toilet, it's going to come out through the skin, or you're going to vomit it up." So if you're like eating and you just can't eat anymore, it's because you're constipated. So yeah, way to go, Doc, and way to go for you pulling them on because yeah, people need to poop and people need to eat more living food. They need salads. You just need a salad. The only way to get a mineral or a vitamin is through a plant. The thought that you can go to a health food store and buy some ground up rock in a little capsule and pop those every day and you think you're getting your vitamins. No, you're turning your pee yellow and you're giving yourself stones. You're becoming a stoner. Hello, gallstones, kidney stones, stones, varicose veins, spider veins, all this crap goes in our body. You're not designed to eat a bunch of rocks or drink a bunch of well water full of rocks. Like that's weird. You're not designed to do that. We don't digest rocks. We aren't a plant. The only thing that can biotransmutate an element is a plant. So when you plant the garden and the rain comes down and the sun comes up and you sing your primary songs, right? Then all of a sudden you have roots that are going into the ground and the roots are collecting nutrients. That's their job because in order to make the beet or the kale or the apple or the pecan, you need different elements from the ground. And so the roots will take those elements up, the ferrous form of iron, whatever it might be, and it'll bring those elements into that apple, into the leaf, into the berry, into whatever you're eating. Now that is loaded with nutrients that are going to fire you up because 12 electrons, that's what magnesium is, and that is what relaxes the body. Calcium constricts the body. You need that for your heart to work, right? Calcium is super important. But guess what? You get calcium from the food you eat. You don't have to suck out of a cow because that's not going to be bioavailable to the human body. That's why the number one cause of osteoporosis is dairy. You don't hear that enough, do you, from the Dairy Council? All of the countries, the higher the dairy consumption, the higher the osteoporosis 100% of the time because dairy is acidic to the body. And when your body is acidic, you need to alkalize the bloodstream. So the blood pulls minerals out of the bone structure, causing Swiss cheese, otherwise known as osteoporosis, and it breaks down your muscles. So if you become really acidic because you're drinking acidic coffee all day long and you're eating only dairy and meat and grain, those are all acidic foods, and you're not alkalizing the bloodstream, you are going to tear apart your bones and your muscles to keep your bloodstream extreme 7.36 pH. And so, just in a nutshell, our minerals and our vitamins come from the ground, and we get them from eating plants. And 90 some percent of anything in a health food store I would never buy. Now, mind you, I own a health food store, but I won't. Mine's full. You can buy everything there. But like literally, people are eating ground up rocks and they're still feeling terrible. Actually, they're probably feeling worse. You're probably, if you have bloating and you're running and you're eating all this fiber and you're taking probiotics, you're making it worse because they're not educating you with why you're bloating. You're bloating because there's too much bacteria in your small intestine that's not supposed to be there and they're off gassing, and you feed your bacteria with your fiber. So I think the number one thing people can do, Josh, is actually learn the systems of the body. We teach that. That's what we do for a living. That's why I'm here, because number one, we need more practitioners. The need for people that understand how the body works right now, every age, every color, everything. We have probably a third of our students right now are medical doctors and nurses. The other 2/3 are 16-year-olds to 90-year-olds or 88-year-olds who want to learn how the body works and teach their friends. So if you want to just get involved to help with autoimmunity or cancer or diabetes, whatever you want to do, you can learn about it and you can help the people around you. But I think education's the key, which is why, we are here. And we did come up with like some $47, $67 courses, whatever they are. But I'll give you a $20 coupon for your people. But like, just to understand diabetes. Hello. So for $47, you're going to understand diabetes. Yep. Guaranteed. And I'm not charging you $3,000 to understand that, because I'm not going to be like that. I'm never going to be like that. I'll never be money driven, and never have been, never will be. And so I think education is always the key, because it removes fear. And when you remove fear, then you have hope, and then you can heal, because you cannot heal in fear, because your body will not let you do that, because your cell cannot be in growth mode and fear at the same time. So you can't ever heal if you're in fear.
Here's here's what I would like to do, just because I want to make sure that whenever whenever I bring someone as passionate as you are about what you do onto the show, I like to also challenge some concepts or push back a little bit, just so that we get people to understand that it's not all or nothing, right? Because I feel like that is what has gotten us to where we are from a societal perspective, which is people thinking that, well, if I don't do everything she just said, then I'm a bad person. Therefore, I need to just completely get rid of everything else. What I would like to talk about is certain situations for people like myself who lives in New York City, a big city. Clearly, this is not ideal. Clearly, right? Nor is it, I shouldn't say it's not possible, but it's very difficult to eat lots of plants all day long to get all those things. And so I am someone personally that also leverages supplements. Now, I am someone that doesn't just take it because someone said that it was good to take. I am someone that tests, I do gut panel testing, I do blood testing at least every quarter, sometimes more, depending on whatever I'm testing. Again, I don't think the average person is also going to go to that extent as well. So sometimes they want to just go, Josh, what do you think I should take? Or Zuzu, what do you think I should eat and take? And so that we don't get looped into that there's only one way system.
Yeah.
Are there some things out there, like for instance, people taking probiotics? Most of the time they don't realize there's a thing known as prebiotics, postbiotics, and prebiotics, or peribiotics, right? And then there's postbiotics, and then there's levels. Like there's this product I take. It is in supplement form, but it's a powder. And it's called Gut Health from what is the name of that company? Pendulum. And Pendulum is really cool because they make a product, one of the first companies to really bring Akkermansia, a very beneficial bacteria found in the gut, right? And so if it weren't for me doing gut panel testing, knowing that I'm actually deficient in Akkermansia, which is important because you don't want to have too much and you don't want to have not enough. You want to have that right balance. And the only way to do that is to know how often you go to the bathroom and maybe do a gut panel test. Then there is proper supplementation, right? Because I agree with you. There is a difference between just shoving a bunch of pills in your mouth and thinking that you're doing well. I think we should also understand that we are very different, although we are humans at the end of the day. We're part of this universe. But, I work out much more than the average person. but I also recover much more than the average person. I leverage all the tools that I have at my disposal, things like grounding, things like going for a walk, jumping, eating a healthy diet, healthy in quotes. But I also might eat a little bit different than you do. I think we're going at this in the right way, but I want to be able to provide as many options for the people looking because I don't want to turn someone off from getting to know you. I don't want to turn
Oh,
someone off from
absolutely.
getting to know me, right?
Yep. 100%. I
Yeah.
100% agree with you because everyone's coming from a different place. And we use medicine as food. And so there will be times that raw milk made into kefir, that's going to be amazing for your Crohn's, right? Or there will be a time we need to get some weight on somebody. So we're using raw cheese as medicine. It's just the thought, just understand that we aren't designed. We have a very short intestinal system. I mean, a very long intestinal tract. And so we're actually designed to eat vegetables and fruits. I'm just here to encourage you to eat more of it because if we want to be alive, eating them is super important. I love New York because you have farmers markets everywhere. You've got raw sauerkraut, you got fresh baked bread, you have all these amazing things, and you have available. You can get raw cheese and you can get raw milk, and so you can sign up for those from different farmers. That's where I'm coming from is yes, the awareness, but the thought that we wake up in the morning and we pollute our lazy river, that can be alarming for a lot of people. And so fruits and vegetables is bringing them in so you get minerals that spark the body. Very, very key. Now, I don't personally I don't like meat. I never have. I don't care if you eat meat. I have a half a cow sitting in my new freezer because we brought it from our family farm in Arkansas. Darn it, that's the best ground beef I've ever had in my life. And so, yeah, I'll nibble on some of that, right? And they make incredible broths that don't have any nitrates and they're all organic and there's no pork. Yep, I love those. But that's just where we're coming from is people need to be aware that yes, diversity is the most important thing when it comes to health because the fibers
Bingo.
that we eat feed our bacteria. And this is the key. So if you don't have money to take tests, you can save up because they're absolutely amazing. We love the GI and all the gut testing and all the microbiome testing. We're huge in the microbiome. But really importantly, the bacteria that you have in the body, and you have more bacteria than you do human cells, is dependent on fiber for life. It is dependent on fiber. You cannot break fiber down. You're a human. We don't break fiber down. But bacteria does. Bacteria, let me grab some water.
I love the bird
Bacteria
sounds in
break
the
down.
background, by the way.
Oh, that is actually Little Light. It's a songbird, and she's my bestie, and she sits out here and sings. A couple weeks ago, she was so loud I had to get up and close the door because she wouldn't stop. She actually comes to my side door of my home in the morning when I open up all the doors, and she sits just inches away from the door just talking to me. It's just whatever it is. But anyhow, so thank you. I'll let her know you like her voice. But the fibers we eat, as diverse of a fiber intake we can get, the better. If we have a salad with 3 vegetables, that's great. Whatever. Anyhow, but if we have a salad with 7 vegetables, now that is gonna diversify the bacteria in our colon. So the greater the prebiotics, the more diversified the prebiotics, which is just fiber, is, the more diverse our postbiotics are. And the postbiotics are our vitamins. Where do you think B vitamins come from? They come from bacteria. Literally. So all this B vitamin deficiency we're seeing, we've killed all our healthy bacteria by using hand sanitizer and Perel and everything and taking antibiotics every other week, right? And so taking that bird's eye view, diversifying the microbiome is one of the most important things we can do because it leads to all of the other aspects of our health. So yes, diversity in food is amazing. I definitely recommend cutting back on dairy because none of us were designed to suck out of a cow. My kids sucked out of me, right? Yours did too. And so we need to be careful with how much dairy we bring into our body because it's very mucus forming and we don't actually need it. But it's a luxury and it's fun. I know, you can go get a little bit of raw cheese and put them on anything. It's delicious. And all the different flavors of cheese are so much fun, right? Nothing wrong with trying a little bit of a dill cheese, but being aware that is mucus in the bloodstream, and you can see it. Any phlebotomist will tell you when they draw blood, they can tell how much dairy you have in your body, period, because it separates. Water and oil separates. And so you can see in someone's blood how much mucus that they have, and that causes headaches, and it causes asthma, and it causes allergies. So dairy a connection to illness is extremely high. So I just encourage to cut it back a little bit because you're going to feel better. And if you have ED, get off the cheese, honey. I have 18-year-olds coming in, Josh, that cannot have an erection in the morning. They haven't had a woody in months. Are you kidding me? Like we got a circulation problem.
Wow.
And the number one
Wow.
thing you can do is change the diet to fix that. You don't need some purple pill. You can definitely, eliminate erectile dysfunction, but you need to actually own the fact that you have it, and it's because of what you're eating and are we exercising? And there's a whole bunch of things we can talk about, but we won't. But I'm just saying we just need to be aware that how we're feeling right now is a result of what's going in our mind and what's going in our body. You're doing great. I love that you're
Mm.
talking about this stuff with all your followers. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's from my many years of, I mean, I've been doing this podcast since 2017 and it's evolved a lot. And what I love about it is, at least for me, it was out of my pure curiosity and my enjoyment. Like I have so much joy by getting a chance to talk to different experts. And the more I do it, the better the conversations become because it's like I've seen a lot, I've experienced a lot. And if I use myself as an N of one study, which is what we all can do and probably should do, it first starts with creating a baseline and being aware. And
Mhm.
I love how we went from, what you first discussed to then my somewhat of a challenge, and then coming back to this diversity. I feel like that is spot on, because what that should do for a person is, first it should open up their idea of what is the palette, what is the canvas I get a chance to draw upon. That canvas now means you have so many colors to use, right? Instead of having just the primary colors, which is what maybe this analogy of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. What about adding in a fourth fuel like ketones? Well, you can either get that exogenously or you can do that endogenously. But in order to do that, in order to get that color on the canvas, you have to do some real work. Right. And then to diversify your diet from the different plants and the enzymes and the bacteria, you have to go and actually search for that. So hopefully that gets you off your butt and gets you moving. Right. And then a long time ago, I had this, and it's still a project that I have, but it's on the back burner, so to speak. But it was this idea of trying to create a true co-op opportunity in my hometown. I'm from a very small town in Oklahoma. It's a small town called Chandler, Oklahoma. It's, approximately 3,000 people, not as small as the town you were talking about earlier in Wisconsin. However, we know that small town mentality. And in that small town, a lot of people, my dad passed away 2.5 years ago, but he was succumbed to being morbidly obese. And in that small town, everyone just kind of says, oh, yeah, like there are no good health food stores. There are no good health food restaurants. And I go, yeah, but you do have a kitchen. You do have, you know, amazing plots of land. Like almost every single house has a yard, right? And then what I wanted to do was create an opportunity in which people could learn how to do permaculture and learn how to do a regenerative farm and then basically eat for free off the land, but you reap what you sow. So as long as you work the land, you get to eat for free. I wanted to start this project. There was going to be a whole show around it. The pandemic happened, messed up a lot of things. So I didn't get a chance to do it then, but it's still a part of something I want to do because I wanted to also show people that you can, throw away the gym membership. If you learn how to till and you learn how to like pick things up properly, now you're getting a workout and you're also eating healthier and you're connecting with the community. That is a project I stand behind wholeheartedly, and I still want to do that. Yeah.
Love it. I love it. I love it. And that's 100% true. That's what we want to do here at Lily Fields. That's why we have such a big property of land. We just need to find the right people to help with that. But we started putting in the permaculture ponds and we did the electric culture garden, which is huge and absolutely amazing. So and that's what life is about is literally working the land and eating what comes from it. That is as simple as it sounds. It is absolutely fantastic. And that doesn't mean you can't have your cows and your goats and your sheep and all your turkeys and your chickens and everything else you've got going on at the farm. We have
Y-
a bunch of birds,
Yeah.
and so it is something that I agree with you. People, and I think they would feel better if they were in touch with the land, if we were outside, in the grass and we're grounding and we're eating well. I think it's awesome. I fully support you, sir, in your mission. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. There was this documentary. You may have seen it. It's called The Biggest Little Farm. Have you seen that one before?
Oh, I started it. Yep, I didn't finish it, but I started it.
So good. And what's
Yeah.
interesting about that is I feel like if a person were if someone watching this is curious, just check it out, Biggest Little Farm. I believe they had it on Netflix for a while, but you can find it. But I think if people were to adopt that style of living, I think so many things can be transformed because, a bit of a spoiler alert, but the lady in the beginning was unable to have kids. And then by changing her diet, changing her lifestyle, doing all these different things, she was able to have kids and they had this beautiful family. And it started from them purchasing a piece of land that was usable, right? It's not usable for growing food. It was like almost like cement or concrete when you're trying to dig into it. And then, like, after some period of time, they brought in the right animals, like hooved animals, right? That can help to quote unquote till. Because to be honest with you, as you probably know, tilling is not the best thing just to be tilling and monocropping, right? And then when it comes to topsoil erosion and things like that, we start to see that there's not nearly as many nutrients in the soil today as it was, let's say, 50 or 60 years ago. And so a lot of that can be regenerated, hence regenerative farming, by bringing in the right environment, right? It's not even just the right animals, but the right environment. There's shade crops and there's the right ecosystem in which the you get a chance to see how nature actually is nature. Right? It's like you get a chance to see where your food comes from. I think that's going to be much more healthy to the body than just going to a store and saying, let me get that slab of meat, or let me get that set of vegetables and fruits that have been sitting out for God knows how long. So anyway, I'm going on a tangent. I'm getting excited. Let's bring this back home. Thank you for listening. So if someone decides by now that they want to work with you because they like how you speak, they like your energy, what does the process look like? Like, do you actually have like day-to-day clients? Are you doing a lot of virtual consulting, or how does that work?
Well, we do a lot of education. So, holistic health educators, we have students all over the world, and some people become holistic health educators. Some people take our holistic health coach courses. These are all, by the way, they're we're certified through MBHWC as well. So you can get your NPI numbers, work for insurance companies. That's what we do. You can become a holistic healthcare practitioner. So that's what we do a lot of. I don't take a lot of clients. I have some that are locals that come in right now, but I'm doing much more in the whole with the school, and then running the farm, and getting that up and running, because we've only been here a couple of years, and so we have a lot that's happening. So yeah, we have the mini course library which people can click on, and then we have like a course on diabetes, and a course on sleep, and a course on cancers and those types of things. And then and this is the landing page that's changing, so it might not look like this when you pop on, but those are links that just take you to holistic health educators, or take you to Lily Fields, or take you to our online store. So that's not even, I mean, I love talking about what we do, because we love seeing the changes. But I mean, I had another lady come in just last week, and actually, I woke up in the morning to a pregnancy test, and she's like, "Look, it's positive." I've only been working with them for a few months, and that's like multiple.
Wow.
I can't even tell you how many women we've been able to help get pregnant, and cancers go away, and Parkinson's and MS and neuropathy. These are things that when you learn the systems of the body, then you understand better how to treat it, right? And we can't, if it's a nervous system disorder, we need to think about that nerve. And if this is the nerve, this is the myelin sheath, and that's made out of oil. So the fats you're eating are making the myelin sheath, which is the insulation that your nerves are running through, and sugar eats it up. Sugar destroys the myelin sheath. So yes, when I'm on a rampage about taking vitamins and minerals, eating more vegetables, it's because you're not going to eat as much sugar then. Because and when you have diversity, it's not diversity of donuts, guys. It's not diversity of breads, right? This is diversity of food intake, of minerals and vitamins that are coming into the body. I just think it'd be really cool if I could show you and your audience, the people that can look, some of I want to show some blood. This is the before and after of a lady that came to our center, and this is her blood. So if you can feel a screen, this is terrible. So that are all gut toxins. None of the blood is formed properly. None of it is round. You see an incredible amount of anemia. You see lots of bacteria. She had mold, candida. Like, this is awful, right? This is day one. In
Wow.
7 days of literally just eating well and drinking water and doing detox. Look at that. So, yes, you can
Wow.
actually change your life in hours, if not days, by exercising and drinking more water and getting into a sauna and help and changing your diet. That is amazing. And that is literally just in a few days of detoxifying the body and eating well and eating different. So there's so much hope to be had. And that's really, and I will tell you, we eliminated when people are here for the retreats, there is no sugar, there is no dairy, and there is no grain, and we don't serve meat during the time that they're here. Again, we eat meat. We have it here. The staff enjoys it. A lot of them, some of us don't. But but that's not that's here or there, because that doesn't matter, because you can definitely you can go into ketosis and you can do ketonic lifestyle. I actually recommend that for anybody who has epilepsy or Tourette's or is having an issue with the GABA deficiency, because we do need to change the terrain while we're working on that section of health. But it's amazing to see what happens in the blood with just making some dietary changes and exercising and sweating and drinking more water. It is absolutely transforming to the human body. So for anybody listening, just even if you're overweight or wherever you might be, this is the beginning point. Like, today you can start drinking more water. Tomorrow you can get more vegetables, right? Tomorrow you can get in the sun more and you can sweat more and you can exercise more. But you don't have to jump in with a type A personality and like make every change at once. It can be simply before your cup of coffee, you want to drink a quart of water, right? We really do preach 2 quarts of water by two. So like, just drink more water before you bring in the coffee, and eat more salad before you have the grilled cheese sandwich, and eat more living fruit, or vegetables. Bring in more of those vegetables. I'm a huge vegetable fanatic. So like, vegetables in place of some of the extra breads or the crackers or the noodles or the chips. So I think it's more of an awareness that there are things you can do right now that aren't going to cost any more money, because when you are going to actually save a lot of money eating this way, because you have an apostat, which is a little organ at the base of the brain, and it controls your appetite. And it measures the nutrients in your bloodstream all the time. So if you eat an organic apple or a salad, you're going to have a lot of nutrients and you will not be hungry for a long time. You go eat a bag of potato chips, you're going to be hungry pretty quick. There's no nutrients in that. And they want you to eat more bags of chips right away. And so we have to look at, what are we putting in, because we are going to save money in the long run by eating healthier, because we won't eat as much and we won't be spending our money on some of those things that are fun. They taste great. They're super great to eat a whatever, but they're not in the long run going to fulfill you. I was at a graduation party. You're darn right. I took a very skinny sliver of that tiramisu cake. Are you kidding? I just very little, because I don't eat that, but I wanted to taste it. So it's not telling you can't, you're not going to be in a box where you can't enjoy tasting things and going out to eat. You're just more aware that you need more minerals in the body so you can spark some life, because that's where your energy comes from. So your energy comes from your food and from the sun. So enjoy more of it.
So for those that are listening, apologies, because obviously there's a section you can come back and watch this video that we're doing here on YouTube. But when Zuzu was showing the phone screen of a blood sample from the client she was speaking about, the first set of screening was very clumped together and disformed. Sort of, you could see that the cells were not like, it just didn't look coherent. It just didn't look like it was very pretty, so to speak, right? And then the second one, which she said was about 7 days later, was you could clearly see what you're looking at, and things seem to just be flowing better. So regardless of if you know how to read, like look into a microscope, the average person can look at A and B or 1 and 2 and see a big difference in just about 7 days of change. And that's what's more powerful about that. So whether you saw that or you're just hearing this, it's very, very powerful to see it. And I feel like that it just goes to show, if you can do some amount of change in a week, what would happen in a month? What would happen in a year? What would happen in 10 years? This is what we're talking about here, right? So it is possible to make changes. Sometimes, that might not take, it may take 7 weeks for the person that is listening, because you may not be as diligent as the person that did it, that she was talking about. But what this is all saying is that you do have autonomy. You do have the power to change your reality by being more aware. That's it. So, before we wrap up, I'd love to just make sure, because I know you could probably go on and on and on about all the things that you do. Is there anything more pressing at this point that we haven't got a chance to cover that you would like to talk about?
Well, I love to remind people that where energy goes, where focus goes, energy flows. So if we're focused on negativity and I can't do this or I can't do that, like the more we say it, the more you speak it, right? The more it becomes you. It's like every word casts a spell, right? So are we telling ourselves negative things and giving us no hope, or are we waking up with some hope? And it might be good to wake up in the morning and put your hand over your liver and be like, hey honey, I'm gonna treat you better today, right? And over your stomach
Mm,
and over your heart, and just be like, I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna really keep trying. And I had to do that as well. And so it's one of those where I think where focus goes, energy flows. So what are we focused on? And if we grab our phone first thing and we're focused on, on proving something wrong or proving something right, and that's our main focus, just remember that we might be taking away some of the focus from our own health, and that's going to be detrimental. So if you can put you in there at the top of the things you're focusing on, so that you remember to exercise in the morning, and you remember to do some stretching, or you remember to drink your water, or you remember to go shopping and grab a couple more vegetables, whatever that might be, I think we are losing sight of the fact of how much power we have with our focus. And so where we focus, what music we're listening to, what we're eating, all the things we went to in the very beginning, everything that goes in comes out. And and it goes with food, the same thing. So if we can get better bowel movements, and if we can, drink more water and eat more fiber, which is going to feed those healthy bacteria and diversify the microbiome, you're going to feel better. And we really are one. But starting with your mind is probably the most important place. Starting with your mind and changing your mind and being like, I am going to become better. I know I can do this. And then drinking more water and just simply eating more vegetables in a day. Your nutrients are going to displace your cravings for sugar. When you have nutrients in the bloodstream, it's going to displace your cravings for sugar. And that is probably the number one issue we have, is the craving for sugar. And that is, obviously, we're designed to only have 1 teaspoon of sugar in our bloodstream at a time. 1 teaspoon, everybody, 1 teaspoon of sugar in our bloodstream at a time. We have a lot more than that right now pouring into us. And so just that awareness, I think, is where to start, is just being aware and feeling inspired, which you can't help but be when you're with Josh. Hello. So you're in the right place. You're in the right place. Listen to the right podcast, because this guy's bringing it on. This is awesome.
No, this has been really, really fun for me. This has been very inspiring. Thank you for all that you do. For those of you that want to get in touch and find out more about Zuzu, you can obviously go to, which I pulled up several times throughout the show, ZuzuUnleashed.com. And she's also on Instagram at Zuzu_Unleashed. And I'm sure there's a multitude of other ways that you can go if you just go to that main website, ZuzuUnleashed.com. And if you guys are curious about more from Zuzu and you have some specific questions, hit me up, let me know, and maybe we can bring her back on. Or who knows, maybe we end up doing some sort of farm project together there where she is in Georgia, right? Who knows?
Yes, I
But
have the land,
Zuzu,
honey. You just come.
all right. Well, honestly, thank you for your time. I'm sure we both have plenty of other things that we can get into today and maybe helping other people. But again, thank you for your time. And for those that are listening and watching, thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. It means so much. And until next time, this is Josh signing off from Simply Walk the Talk. Peace.
Make my move, here to last. Fasten these seatbelts, I'm coming past. Take care of me, longevity. Hack my biology, better believe. Walking the talk, soul, mind, and body connected. Better come give us a listen. Better come give us a minute or two. Open the box up, we giving you tools. Giving your engine the fuel that it needs. Breathing into it, it's autoimmune. Make a connection, we're stronger in two. Making us one of a kind of a few. Work on the mind, but show me your moves. If you do what you say, you know what to do. Yeah.
Simply walk the talk.